Bing. There's a Bing which tells us it's time for Atlantic Scrum. And it's Sam, and it's Thomas, and it's Michael. And let us go to screen share and go and share probably that screen. Let's go screen share. Members. So, Michael, how are things with you?
Fine.
Excellent. And so go on.
I had implemented the edit categories feature using nested attributes, which allows us actually to just use the update mass assignment method rather than special controller logic.
Good show. And
so
you that's
see that work in progress on I've updated that categories.
So it's still in progress, but you've adopted it to use these nested attributes. Right.
The most horrible thing is I implemented the spaceship operator, which is right there.
I see. Yes. Good.
That's to get it to be sortable.
Sort them into those subcategories. Right.
Because there's some complicated logic about, if you're in if you're in a later type of category, then you're always a higher than the lower types, and if not, then it depends on the alphabetical ranking of your name.
Right. Yes. I will have a closer look.
I didn't unit test it yet, but it works when the acceptance tests pass.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Good to check it out. I'm interested to look at it in more detail. Good show. Anything? But nothing blocking you particularly at the moment.
No. Yesterday I was having. What is it saying? It's saying you're presenting to everyone. Oh, so yesterday I was having issues because there was duplicate logic in that pull request, but I've sorted them out now with the spaceship operator.
Okay. Right. Yes, I mean, I sort of just looking at it, it feels to me like that there should be some way to dry it out a bit further, but I might be wrong. Yes, okay. And are you available now, or you'll be available later for your usual late slot with Marion and perhaps Paul?
I'm actually available now if anyone wanted to, but.
Right. Yes, I mean, actually, we could spend a little bit of time looking at it together. Let's see. Let's go over to Thomas. How are things with you?
Hi guys, what's up? Yes, well, you hear me okay?
Hearing you just fine. I'm trying to remember what that. There's nothing jamming but the bacon or something. But anyway.
Nothing shaking but the bacon.
Shaking, but okay, it rhymes. Okay, there we go. Right. Sorry, go on. Yes. So.
We'll get it right eventually.
Nothing but jamming but the ham or the. Sorry, go on.
But actually, it kind of loses importance.
No. Of course. No, my street cred is always of very little importance. But do go on, Thomas.
Yes. Well, I made a blunder. I made a yes. I didn't update the update page. I recorded a video. It's in YouTube, but it's not updated on the edX page of the course. Weekly update. So I'm sorry, mea culpa. I don't know how you want to punish me.
I'm not sure, but I understand the nature of the offence, and since you're clearly aware of the nature of the offence, I shall leave the punishment to yourself.
I will do something in terms of self-molestation or something.
Okay.
Anyways, apart from actually updating that page right after the scrum.
Yes. That would seem to be the key thing, yes.
Yes, and the shame itself is a punishment.
Well, of course.
Other than that, I haven't been doing much Agile Ventures related things. I've been working.
Yes, you've got a real job. Yes, congratulations again.
Thank you. So I've been in endless meetings with my colleagues. So my ears starting to bleed almost. But I was away to Chalmers. Chalmers is a technical university here in Gothenburg. And I was at their innovation center because I will be renting a small co-working space, among other techies and programmers, so I can get away from home a little bit. and they have wonderful facilities over there. There's a lot of people that I spoke to today about Age of Ventures, among other things, and there was a lot of interest. About, oh wow, this is cool, you know, and Ruby on Rails is nice, and all the other. They asked me if we do other frameworks and other programming languages, and I said we're always on the lookout for, you know.
Yeah, new projects and needs.
Yes, and they have these wonderful facilities over there with big, nice conference rooms, and they said the lady that was showing me that, she says, you know, on weekends, if you guys want to, you know, host any hackathons or meetups or anything, just go ahead, and you know, we do all those things, and I can do it basically for free. I mean, it's included in my monthly fee that I pay for the working space, you know. So I'm fairly enthusiastic.
No.
It sounds great. So
it sounds good.
We could do something, a live event perhaps, you know, and hook you guys up over Hangout. You know,
yeah,
could be a fun thing to do.
Yes, indeed. I'm sure many Adventures members who are available at weekends would be very interested.
Yes, and you could perhaps simultaneously host something in perhaps not on weekend but on weekdays. You could do something on Maker.
And then make it in. Yeah, I mean, it could be broadcast live into that space.
Yeah, yeah. So that could be really. I mean, if for instance, if you like work late Wednesdays or something, I could do something on Wednesday night.
Oh yeah, no, well, I'm definitely planning this coming Wednesday. I'll be working late this coming Wednesday, and I'm hoping we'll be having another of our Agile Ventures general meetings. Yeah.
So yes, but it was really nice to actually meet some people after such a long time, because I've been working all by myself.
Right.
Well, not by myself, because I found all of my beautiful, wonderful friends in Agile Ventures, but
yes, it's nice. It's nice to occasionally meet people in the flesh.
Yes, definitely. In real life, see that they actually have bodies, not only voices. Yes.
Indeed, indeed.
So that would be all from me.
Okay, right.
So I'll be available to pair later tonight.
Right, but not right now. Yep, good show. Okay, well, I guess that leaves me, and I'm kind of what's happening. Yeah, I've just been kind of managing my health today. I've been doing emails for stuff related to the auto graders and my old, the university which I'm on leave from, HPU, and looking back at the Ananda Tetris course, which HPU is talking about running again, and I was going back through all of our materials and the Bitbucket repos that we've been looking at, Michael, and actually I forwarded them off to Simon Schocken, Shimon Schocken, who's the author of the textbook, saying if he gives me his Bitbucket username, then I'll give him access so he can see what we were doing. And although I think we ended up down a bit of an alley, a dark alley, with that excessive mocking and stubbing train wreck that we got into, which I think is entirely my fault, really. But anyway, yes, I'm unlikely to teach that course again anytime soon. But the other thing was, I thought that they were going to try and teach it on Coursera, but I haven't seen any sign of that. Yeah, so I'm kind of.
I think we got the gist, though, of writing your own recursive descent parser.
Yeah, and I think the solution, what it is that I think when you get to it was interesting. It was in the subsequent, TDD is dead debates, in which I think it was Kent Beck was saying that with the parser, the intermediate representation, as in if you've got is enough. You don't necessarily want to completely mock and starve everything. If you can have an example of this is the correct intermediate representation that you generate, that is enough of a test, is what it is.
Well, I think I did a.
You did a version like that afterwards, which I think I then didn't have a chance to look at in detail.
I created a branch at one point and did something like that.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, we'll see. Probably not this year, but maybe in future years we'll get to go back and review all of that. But yeah, so I mean, the big things on my agenda are the MOOC's supposed to go live next Tuesday. I guess when I haven't immediately seen any AV1 and 2 people jumping into Hangouts and asking for pairing sessions, although I hope that will start happening. I'm a bit worried.
I did send out the notification over.
Yeah. So I mean, I think people are, it'll be probably over the weekend that there ends up being lots of people coming in. We will see. So the MOOC needs to go out on Tuesday. I've got a big list of things to do. Armando has actually been in and started making some changes to the layout structure of the beginning weeks. But I guess for Thomas and Pretty and Michael, So you've potentially got people signing up to pay for your Optu course?
Yes, but everything is in place, but I haven't heard anything.
No. I think Armando is on the cusp of sending out an email to all of the students enrolled in the course to say that the Optu course thing is happening.
I think they did that Monday.
They
Big
did do
push.
that already. So
Yes,
you haven't got any way to track how many people are signed up for your thing?
No, I do not. I do not.
Okay, no, fair enough. Interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. Yes, and I'm trying to convince
It's a very simple business model.
Yes.
Sam. So
yes, no, and they described it to me in some detail in advance, and I hooked everybody up with Jonathan, and yes, it's I mean it's a lovely idea. I wish it had been around earlier in the year, shall we say? But anyway, yeah, I mean the other thing I'm kind of is convincing my CEO that we should take the various parts of our Ronin course content framework online, open source, so that we can sort of collaborate more easily with Adventures and so on. Yeah, I guess that's about the size of it. Yeah, there we go. Do we have any other business for the group of us?
Nope.
No. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm not in a wonderful. My brain is not functioning at full capacity. But we could just sort of hang out here and Michael, if you wanted to talk through or show me things that you're working on related to local sports, I mean,
sure.
I don't really have the energy to stop and start and so on. So I'm tempted just to leave it broadcasting. And Thomas, obviously, welcome to stay, or I think you may need to nip off. But
yes,
maybe we'll just use the back of the scrum, yeah, we can. Michael, you and I can coordinate on local support things.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.
Yeah, take care, Thomas. See
All
you.
right, cheers. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.
Do you see my screen?
I do, yeah.
Okay, let me start.
And you've got you're all comfortable. Go on.
Go on. I'm all comfortable.
All comfortable with RubyMine and Mac now.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
I had some issues with getting mean.io to work. Apparently because I had sudoed things. But Paul with the permissions. With Cheon or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. Have you tried installing Flubits in I forgot what it's called now. RubyMine.
What is Flubits?
Flubits is a pair programming plugin that I think Paul and John and a few others were experimenting with earlier in the year. It's I've I don't know. I'm trying to remember what I'm. Yeah.
Well, Mary and I have been pairing, and normally we just share through Teammate.
Oh yeah. No,
except
I mean
on
sure.
my side, if there's some heavy lifting to do, then I have RubyMine open and kind of edit it in the background.
Oh yeah. No, I wasn't particularly suggesting it as something that I know Marion likes her Vi, so I wasn't particularly thinking. It was more just that. Well, interestingly, the my brain. It's there's a company in San Francisco called Hack Reactor that is they're offering they're starting to offer their boot camp remotely, and their pairing tool of choice is Flubits. And I just remember Paul and John being quite excited about it, and
cool.
You and I were both on that. Anyway, I was just going to give you. I was just trying to find a link with which will allow you to install it quickly. Not necessarily for this not for now, but on some future occasion when we had something like this, I thought we might conceivably try it out.
Okay, so
anyway, just grab those couple of links that I pasted into the group chat there, and put them somewhere for you to install some other time. Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna show me some things.
So anyway, I start the Rails server,
Mm.
and I'm logged in as an admin,
Uh-huh.
so I can edit.
Right.
And this is the edit categories. It's
Right.
basically what you had seen before.
Yes.
So the form that generates this is a little different,
Mm-hmm.
but it still works the same. Like if I take that away and say religion and organization. So I update it. Now there's religion, organizational grants, and services.
Right.
So it works all fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then the code itself, let's show you. So in the controller,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it makes more sense to start with the view. Organizations.
Well,
So this is the go on.
yeah. Well, I was going to say the controller is fine. I mean, basically from the point of view of like running through the code, like the request comes in for the edit page, it's going to hit the controller first. So the controller is setting
Right.
up variables that we're going to consume in the view. So
So what happens first is these are the 3 lines that I added.
right. So we basically
Okay.
got the list of the 3 different categories.
Well, actually what it is it's the name of the first category in each of the types,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense.
Oh, okay. That does.
I
Mikhail is doing. Hey, Mikhail. We're
Hello.
just. Hey, the scrum's sort of over, and we're just looking through some code. But feel free to
Okay.
hang around. Or
Okay.
okay, so that it gets the. Oh, okay, no, fair enough. Right. So those 3 things there are going to be the first category from each. Sorry, the first category from each of the 3 types of category.
Yes, and that's important because I need that in a view partial to generate the headers, the headers of each category. But basically, it calls
Okay.
these methods, which are very much alike. All they do is call category.all and sort
Uh-huh.
it, and then they
Mm-hmm.
select basically a condition,
Yes.
and then they
Yeah.
select the
Yeah.
first one.
That all
And
makes.
if it exists, then they return the name. Otherwise, it returns null.
Yes.
So, and then what happens in the form is we have it edit categories.
Uh-huh.
Where is that at?
Yeah, well, it seems to be on line 91 there.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
pathetic.
I'm
But
just
are you?
where did I? Okay, here it is. See, the first thing to notice is that we have a setup organization method,
No, okay, on line 1. Right.
and that's important because let's see, form helper. Because basically, the only categories that will exist on the object to begin with will be the ones that are persistent in the database.
Uh-huh.
But we actually want all of them.
Okay.
So what this does is it finds, apparently this is a Ruby way to find all the organizations which exist but don't exist as all the categories that exist that could possibly exist but are not
Mm-hmm.
are not associated with the organization yet,
Okay.
and it builds each of them in turn on the organization.
I
And
see.
then what this does is it then sorts them
Uh-huh.
according to the spaceship operator,
Okay.
and then it returns organization. So basically what we've done is we've added all the categories and we sorted them
Okay.
so that when it comes down here
Mm-hmm.
and it enumerates them, they'll be in the right order.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes some sense. I mean, I guess it feels like one would want to be able to, like, in terms of the list of categories that one was putting into that edit field there, you'd want to just do category.all.sort and just have all of them. But I guess for the purposes of doing this nested update, for using
Yeah.
this fields for category organization, and in order to show all of them, you need to kind of paint them onto the
Build them.
existing organization
Organization,
model,
yeah,
and then so that's yes,
exactly.
yes. That can you just show me the form helper again? Right. Yes, and
So
so
it does a,
the
yeah, go on.
building sort of puts them in place in the way in not actually creating them, but creating them ready to be created if we need them, and then we sort them. Okay, yeah, no, good.
I found this actually in some tutorial, this
Yes, yes, interesting.
project.
Yeah, go back to our original.
So,
Yes.
so what this does is it creates a checkbox.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's checked if the object exists in the
Uh-huh.
database,
Right.
and it needs a 0 and 1 because apparently by default, if it's checked, it's going to destroy it.
Uh-huh.
So this ordering here makes it so that it destroys it in the event that it's unchecked.
Okay. Right.
And
And that, I mean, that FF there, we've got that's fields for.
yeah,
That ends up being that FF.
ends up being the individual category organization.
Right. And so we're then creating, so we've got the category organization, we're going FF dot object
Object.
dot.
That's to actually get the thing that you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's referring to some thing that accepts these methods like checkbox and
The
label.
FF is kind of an element of this field thing here. Is this sort of an HTML field, and then
Mhm.
the FF.object gets
Is the thing that it's
yeah,
associated with.
line 94, giving us category name that we see it, and then we have the checkbox, and as you say, it's there, so that object persisted is checking whether. See, that's interesting. So that says FF object persisted. So that the object is an object of type
Like whether it's in the
category.
database, because
Yeah,
all we did was build it, we didn't
yeah,
save it.
right. That's persisted is like, but it's the particular object that we're referring to are these category organization objects, which is
Yeah,
the many-to-many table that
yeah.
underpins the relationship between the
It's the
category.
join table.
Yeah, right. And then we've got the label, which has got what's that on line 100? That's just
Destroy, yeah.
but so I think 94 is rendering a partial of the category type. What's in that category type partial?
Well, that's the, let me show you. Where's the view? That's basically the header. So remember the variables we set up in the
Right.
controller?
Okay.
So in the event that it sees that, then it inserts these little things, which
right. Yeah.
which
So
let me show you what they look like. They look like this. This is what you do.
right. So it's basically matching each of them, and when it finds the
When it
first one,
sees them, it inserts it first. Yeah.
right, for each of those two. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And that's basically it.
Right, and then
Other than the starship operator, which is kind of horrendous, but
yeah, just go back to the view for a second. But so the view there, we've got the hidden field, so that submits like what the category ID is. We've got the checkbox to indicate what we want to happen. The label there, that's what actually presents the name of the category.
right.
And and that just that underscore destroy, that just happens to be what the nested attributes thing wants to receive.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. Okay. Yes. I mean, before we go on to the spatial operator, and one thing that I sort of imagine, it seems immediately that I would be tempted to do in the organization's controller is that we're passing in those three individual kind of related variables.
Pass them in as an array or something.
Yeah. Because that's sort of, it seems like that could easily be a single line, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that
I
would
was
make
thinking about that, but
yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously to get it working, not a problem, but yeah, just that's a relatively simple. But then we've also got, as you say, I mean, so going back to the category there, you're with the spaceship operator. I mean,
so we actually have a spaceship. So we have a spaceship operator in the join model, but it just delegates to the categories.
Okay, fair enough.
Spaceship operator here.
Yeah. And then so here, but before we get into the spaceship operator, if we look at the three methods above, obviously they could be dried out relatively easily.
With a method missing or something?
No, I would just you could have, for example, you could still have the three methods as they are, but the four lines that they have there are almost identical. and you
Yeah.
could have them each calling out. You could parameterize the values, like you've got effectively a pair of values, which is like you could have on line 27 less than 200 and greater than 0, let's say, or greater than 100 or whatever it is, and then you've got there's this but basically there's three identical methods that are parameterized by a pair of values.
Right.
So you could have a single method that would be first category name in first category name in section, and it took 2 arguments, and that could be a single method that contained that.
Like a private method or something.
Sure. And then each of those methods in turn would call that, and they would just pass the numbers in. Not that that's a particularly sophisticated refactoring, but just that pops out at me as I look at that page there. But then, so yeah, going on to the spatial operator, yeah, so that does seem to have got rather complicated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And should I look through, or do you want to talk me through why it has the complexity that it does?
Well, the lines 48 through 53 are setting up conditions, basically Boolean conditions.
Yes.
That say in which category the thing is.
Right.
So basically, given the conditions on what the restraints on what the charity commission ID can be, one of these will be true and the others will be false.
Right, right.
And it's the same with this thing. And then basically, if they're in the same type of category,
right,
it delegates to the spaceship operator, which is just the string.
The string comparison, yes.
And otherwise, it returns -1 or 1, as the case may be.
Right, right. So it would seem to me that what I would be tempted to do here is I would be tempted to produce a method on category that it was a method that said was a method like category type. I don't know that we've called it. Basically, that's the way we've got. If we had what I'd be tempted to do here, if we had a Flubits plugin, I would start typing into your thing. But so, for example, if on line 45, what if you created a new method on line 45 that was, and you hit return and did like def type, and so that's just and that's I don't think it would take any parameters. And could we not put the logic about which thing that you're into this type thing? So it would basically return. I mean, you could take, for example, that you've got that self.charity, like on line 52 now, you've got self.charity commission ID is less than 200. So you could kind of put that in there, and it would basically be return you could turn the symbol what they do if self.charity commission ID is less than 200.
Okay. So
grab that, and it can be a single line. So but I would put at the beginning of the line, return the symbol, what they do there, and then you could have so like three identical lines like that.
And then the final one would be
yeah, exactly. And then so I would have thought what you could do is that you could effectively remove lines 54 through 59.
Okay.
So you could comment those out for a moment if you're worried about deleting them. But so yeah, 54 through 59, just comment those out.
I think it's like
you can do like there's a command / in RubyMine, and it will automatically comment that those number of lines for you. There's also like begin, end, and stuff, but I would generally like highlight the set of lines that I want by sort of that's exactly that. And then I think it's command / hold on the command key, and then there you go. Yeah. But so now that we've got that type methods, what you could have there is you could have if self.type equals other.type, that will actually take care of the clauses on line 60, 68, and 76 in one go, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that could then be, yeah, self-name equals, that spatial operator there. And
So
so
we get rid of this. Get rid of this. Right? Get rid of this.
Mm-hmm. And then I think, at least for that, so you need to lose the end on line 62 and make sure that the else if blocks matched up. But so, and then go through, and there is sort of what you could be doing there is, so you want to, there's like 3 conditions where it's -1. So you could then check for, is it any of those 3 conditions, return -1, else return 1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? If you do it in order, because once you've dealt with the situation where they're equal and the situation where it's -1, then you can basically, skip that. I mean, I also noticed there that you've got the you're using the single ampersand operator there, which is kind of
Bad.
weird. But
Okay.
yeah, so there you would need to do something like, I mean, what you want there now is a sort of a type comparison. So what you could do is, rather than doing it here, you could define kind of a spaceship operator for types.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean. So
right now the type is just a symbol.
The type's just a symbol, yeah, but you could still define. I mean, it's we could turn it into a. I mean, I guess we're maybe getting ahead of ourselves, but you could turn it into a nested class here. You could have a class called category_type, and then you could make it have its own
How would
spaceship.
How would I?
Well, what you could actually, if you just stay where you are, so go to where we've got def type. So
Right.
just above def type, like on the line, you could just do just type the word class, and then the word category type in camel case, and then return, and then end. And then, so instead of returning, and so you could just do an initializer that took a symbol, of what they do, so def initialize. Yeah, and then you could do at, sim equals sim, for example. I mean, it could be name, but who cares? There you go. And then, so what you could do in the type thing, instead of returning in the type method on lines 53, 54, and 55, you could just do category type dot new for each of those 3 symbols, so that we get a comparison.
Wait. What are you saying now? Category.
So that now the type we want to return is category type dot new. I mean, one could turn them into constants somewhere else, but anyway, like so. And yeah, and so then, in fact, you could have the spatial. You could define it in here and basically pass off
Mm-hmm.
the. I mean, I guess, yeah, you've got this thing. So you've got this thing. If self type equals other type, that's yeah. I think that's gonna match on the double equals with it. And then, so you could sort of do else if there. And so if they're not the same, which is a case where you actually want to compare with the category name, then on line 70 you could pass off to the category type. So you could do like you could just do else there. You don't need to be else if, but you could just do else on line 69, and then you could do what would you do there? You do self.type spatial operator other.type. Right, and then all of that code 73 through 85 could effectively be moved up into 51 in terms of a sequencing of those categories. So you could just you could have it return -1 in the 3 cases where the thing is bigger than the other one, and then in the other 3 cases you could just return 1 by default. Does that make sense?
Yes. Let's see.
Difficult.
Other.
Yeah. Ed's joined us. Hello, Ed. How are you doing?
Hello.
Were you looking for? Are you in the AV 102 class?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Greetings. Were you looking to join the Scrum?
I think so. Yes.
Yes. Yes. You've well, you've been lucky that we usually the Scrum starts at I think it's 2:15 UTC, which was about 35 minutes ago.
Okay.
We've kind of run long, but that's all good. That's all good. You're more than welcome. Michael and I were just reviewing some code that he'd been writing, and I was just making some suggestions for refactorings. And you're more than welcome to observe. Were you looking to start on your week 4 assignment of pairing on some code?
Yeah, eventually, but probably tomorrow.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. Great. Well, let me introduce you to Ed, Michael, and Mikhail as well. My name's Sam, as you probably know me from the course. Where are you based, Ed?
Boston.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I think Michael's also on the East Coast. I'm in London, and I believe Mikhail is in France.
Yes, I'm trans.
So what we were just doing here, Ed, is we were taking a rather complex method that had got rather long, and I was sort of giving some suggestions to Michael about how we might refactor it by using kind of an internal class to make it a little bit simpler. Although it remains to be seen whether that will have end up being as simple as we hope. But that looks like you're on the right track there, Michael.
Yeah. And other is who they help.
So the background here, while Michael struggles with the details for Ed and Mikhail's benefits, is that this is for our local support project, where which is a directory of charities and non-profit organisations in Northwest London, and the charities that we have in there are originally gathered from the government database, and the government specifies certain categories that charities can fall into, and there are 3 types of categories, and these 3 types of categories are what they do, how they help, and who they help. And so one of the features that our clients had asked for is for those categories to be displayed on the website, and we have, I think, a search on our main search page has a what they do search. But now what we're adding is the feature, and Michael's been working with Marion on, is allowing the charities to edit the categories that they're in, and not only to do it for the what they do type of category, but also for these 3 other categories. And the reason for this relatively complex bit of code is to effectively sort all the different types of categories in the sort of the Rails form on the website, and make it all sort of have them appear in a consistent alphabetical order. And I guess it's with what is that? What actually is the ordering that we have on the websites, Michael? And then I think you can just do else and return 1. I mean, you could just have that if statement. You don't even need the one that return. You could just remove lines 54 and 55 there.
Yeah, I know. Just remove lines 54 and 55.
Well, I was going to say, I think that return. I think you probably want the return minus 1. Yeah, there you go. I'd have return there, and then after the end statement, you just put a 1. Right, because that'll all the other 3 situations correspond to a 1, right?
Well, not quite. I mean, actually, if we're defining a proper spaceship, there should be a 0 too when they're the same type.
Okay,
Right.
but we've kind of dealt with that sort of, I guess, the situation where the same type is being dealt in our other operator, and that's why this is sort of a nested class. I think we don't have to return. Well, I guess you could have it default to return.
If symbol.
I mean, it seems like, from my point of view, writing out all the code to deal with those 3 situations. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's good too. Yes, and the if statement. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So then we could, in principle, lose lines 68 through 73, from the def other, and also 79 through 92, and
79.
it's now 73 through 86 due to the deleting of the earlier lines.
And that could work, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be broken in some way that I haven't anticipated.
Actually,
but, go on. Yes? Was that Ed or Mikhail trying to say something?
Yes. Why do you put a return on the first statement, return -1, or not?
Yeah, no. In
Return?
fact, it doesn't have to have a return on.
Yes. Or you put a return to return -1 on return 0, and you put the 1 after the end. It's the other way of doing things.
Yeah, I think if we had the one after, in this case where he's adjusted it so that it has the 3 like that, I believe the if statement will just return those 3 things. But that's sort of extracted some of the logic into a different setting.
So what do we? So let me run the features, I guess, or just the.
Well, I mean, even just go to the run the website and have a look at. But I think particularly for Ed and I'm not sure if Mikhail came in early enough.
We crashed. Undefined method symbol.
Yeah, category. But if we pop back to that's I think if we pop back to 51 there, that looks like we're probably missing. We don't have we need an attribute reader or something for the other sim there. So on line 46, if you put in an attribute reader :sim, that will allow us to read the. So of course, what we should have been doing is, of course, test driving all this stuff. But the
did we actually initialize this thing at all?
We do. Well, if you look on line 63, then we are creating category type.new, and we're passing the symbol in.
Yeah. Okay.
So we are creating them. But yeah, just reload that Rails page now and see what happens. There you go. That's did they appear?
Something screwed up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So they're
different than what it was.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I think the principle is sound. It may be that we need to use we would need to create 3 constant types of categories. I'm just thinking, like, I'm not sure that the double equals operator here in terms of these. See, what we're doing is we're creating a new category type on the fly. I don't remember in Ruby if the double equals thing there is going to be doing exactly what we want to be doing. Whether we need to create like those 3 category types as constants and then return those.
Well, what we could do is use our spaceship operator,
right? I think the problem of using the spaceship operator is we don't have access to the. Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Because it should return 0.
Yeah, that's a reasonable idea. I mean, I almost get to the point where having at least experimented.
That seems to work.
Oh, there you go. Good show. I was going to say, if that hadn't worked, it's definitely time to get into sort of unit testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because I think there's further cleanup that could be done there. Run the test.
We're trying to be like DHH, right?
Well, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to be more like DHH?
He advocates well, he doesn't like cucumber.
Well, he doesn't like.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting that it seemed to me, people have suggested to me that he kind of backpedaled compared to the presentation that he gave at the Rails conference to what he then said in discussion with Martin Fowler and Kent Beck. I mean, I think.
Of course, they made him.
But yeah, the way that he came across in that it seemed to me that what he was complaining about, or at least what he continued to complain about, was about excessive testing and mock train wrecks and
brittleness.
Yeah, and so on, which I think is a very serious issue. I don't know if he was suggesting that in his original Rails talk, which I didn't hear, that people should not do any testing at all.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, right. But okay, and the tests are green. It's good. Well, I think I'm probably, because my voice is starting to go. I may slip off. But Michael, what Ed and Mikhail might be interested in seeing you do, or possibly even pairing with you on if they're available, is writing some unit tests for that things that we just did to kind of you know, I think it could be cleaned up further, if you know what I mean,
Right.
Michael, from what we did there. Like, there's no need to create a new object of category type each time. That from line 64, 65, and 66, those could be extracted to constants that were available, you know, and just that you know. Anyway. Yeah, so I might leave you guys to it if that's all right.
All right.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, Ed and Michael's one of our longest running Agile Ventures folks, and I'll leave you in his capable hands, and look forward to bumping into all of you very soon.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.